Hey everyone, it's Anthony on Ramos. Happy Pride to you all. All right, well, you all know and love Colton Haynes from shows like Arrow, Teen Wolf. On the outside, it looked like everything was perfect, perfect career, perfect life. On the inside, it was definitely a different story. In his new memoir, Miss Memory Lane, he's opening up about a lot. He's sharing a lot. We're talking about addiction, mental health, body image, and more, all in hopes of inspiring and saving others. And I'm really excited to be chatting with Colton right now. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Thanks for having me. Yeah, I'm doing great.
My pleasure. And look, I want to see how you're feeling. It's been a couple of days. You've been doing a lot of press. The world has the book now, very personal. How are you feeling?
I definitely got some sleep, so it's good. I had one full day to kind of, rest up, and I slept. I didn't wake up until 4 p.m. yesterday. So,
Wow.
yeah, I'm definitely feeling rested. And yeah, just for the people who've read the book, the love and just the overwhelming support that I'm getting from that is definitely, it's just so incredible to me. And also I have to continue to remind myself to focus on the positive because, I think, as we know, anyone really knows, is that when you're doing press for things, it doesn't matter how personal it is. Oftentimes people latch on to things that have nothing to do with your story or nothing to do with what you're promoting or your book. And so, that flooded the press cycle for this, but this has been happening to me for like 15 years, so I'm used to it by now, but it is definitely, something that I have to just remind myself to be positive. But yeah.
And I think, look, this book it's so important. It's so honest. It's so impactful. I know when I read it, I was picking up on so many things for me personally with my own story. So I know that there's going to be so much power for not I always say the kids, but it's like for anyone that reads it, I think you can pick up really important things. I don't even know where to begin, but I think let's talk about, there's so much. I think one of the things that I didn't necessarily realize is that when you set out from Kansas, you were like 16 or 17, you were like very sure of who you were out, you were like, okay, this is who I am. Cut to you getting to Los Angeles, getting a lot of interest. And then they basically, Hollywood told you, you know what? Oh no, you can't be out. You can't tell anyone that you're gay. And you even went to these classes to kind of be quote unquote more masculine, to change the way you talk. It almost reminded me of like a conversion therapy class or something. That was difficult to read. Tell me a little bit about that, because for someone that young, it had to have been really damaging.
It definitely was. I think it was, resorting back to like the studio system kind of days, it's a kind of very much a tab hunter kind of thing. And, it really, for me, I didn't realize how damaging it was, because I was just hell bent on trying to prove these people wrong. Mm-hmm. And, I think I was having so much doubt placed on me was definitely, I turned around and kind of used it as fuel to try to succeed. But at the same time, then so much of who I was and so much of who I am just started just slowly disappearing and just, sinking further into myself. And this kind of character was born. And, and it really was, looking back at all of it, there's so many things even that I didn't keep in the book, because I found so much of my anger starting to creep out towards the end of finishing this, because it took me years to write it. And so I didn't want that to overtake the kind of overall like beautiful message and a lot of the heart that was in the book, because I still am dealing with kind of some anger that I have with, being told that everything I was not something that was going to be beneficial towards my career and not going to be something that people were interested in. And so, yeah.
Do you think, this is a big question, but, kind of like going from then to now, here we are in 2022, do you feel like Hollywood's different now? Do you feel like you can be fully out and proud and get really interesting opportunities? There are people in the business, I think of course, Ryan Murphy, Shonda Rhimes, that are making those, but is it different, do you think?
I think we're lucky to have people like Ryan Murphy and Shonda Rhimes who just really,
Berlanti, of course, can't forget.
Greg's the reason why I even have,
exactly,
that I have anything really. And so, Greg Berlanti. And so I I do think there are people who are championing, LGBTQ plus people and really sharing their stories with the world. And I do think there are people like that. I think for, there's still a lot more change that needs to happen. It's just, how is that going to happen? And I think that's, we get asked that question a lot, and then it's out there, but then it still just feels like there's not a lot of action, I guess, being placed towards it. Mm-hmm. I'm not fully sure on how we can change that, but I think just even having the conversation about it definitely gets the word out there. And no matter what, I think that there are people who want to see other people in the community succeed, not just have one person who can be the face for that. And being not just me and my type being the only people from our community who can actually make it on TV. But even since coming out of the closet, the only opportunities that I get now are for a couple times a year auditioning to play the gay best friend. Yeah. And unfortunately, my look interferes with the leading roles, and so therefore I'm not it's not a possibility for me to be cast. But it does make me excited for the future, because with the entire cast of a few of who I know from Fire Island, that movie was just so special. It really was. It was such a magical film, and Joel and Bowen and Matt and just so many people that are so talented. And I do think that they were like, you know what, we're going to be ourselves, and we're going to show what real queerness is about, and we're going to show a different side of things. And I think that that's so important, because I think the message that has been flooded in the entertainment industry of what queer culture is just not it's not correct. I think it's what they want to show the world as opposed to what it actually is. And I think that that's, movies like Fire Island are definitely changing that.
Completely. And look, that's what I'm glad every day we're pushing for that. We're hoping for more inclusive, just different, important, well done representations of all different parts of the community and media. So completely agree with you there. One of the pieces that I personally connected to with your story was a lot about body image, and I think it's a conversation that we still don't have enough, especially amongst gay men. I think about just there's a lot of pressure, and I don't think people talk about it enough. And I think people are starting to. You talk about your struggles. I think at one point you said you were hoping to be, the male Kate Moss, which I'm sure that I had said that at some point in my life as well. Like, icon.
She's all over my house.
Yeah. But it's tough. And I know then, you ended up having an addiction to Adderall, which I think was related to kind of the body and the weight and all. Tell me a bit about your journey with that, because I think, like I said, it's an important conversation that we have.
Yeah, I definitely, I had an addiction to way more than that, but I wanted to try to keep it, try to have a career, try to pursue a career after this. Yeah. But I think it's hard for a lot of people to find the words to feel like it's okay to talk about these specific issues, because I don't have a problem with it, because people are going to say what they're going to say regardless. But I think people are scared of the conversation around, not to sound like, oh, I'm pretty, but I have problems too. Like, I think once you actually go deeper than that, and I think you actually listen to some of these people's struggles, for me personally, to know that the only currency, the only value that I brought towards my career and towards everyone's lives, or everyone's lives that I knew or people around me, not my friends, but when it came to work, was my only currency was my beauty and the way I looked. And so therefore, it doesn't matter if my talent outshined anyone else's for whatever role. I only got it because I was the way I looked. And so I think the pressure around that, and knowing that that was my currency, I just did whatever I could to spend it and continue spending it until I basically became broke from spending all of that currency. And I think it really is such a difficult thing for me, because then it spawned a really, really terrible eating disorder that I had for a very long time. And my confidence is definitely shaken still from it, because, having to feel like you're just something to look at, and that, you know, no one ever actually listened to my feelings, and knowing that my way to get my feelings across was from, you know, emoting emotion through my photographs. That was really the only way I felt like I was being seen. And so, yeah, it does play a huge part in our culture, and you know, it's deep rooted. I don't know. I don't want to say it's deep rooted trauma, just kind of you know, showing from on the outside, but if you don't fit a mold, if you don't look a certain way in our community, then all of a sudden you're not you could be made to feel like you're not being treated good, or you know, beauty does play a huge role in that. And I think that it's really important to look at someone beyond their physical, and to see what other things that they can bring to the table besides that. And yeah, you know, there's a lot of things even in the book about sex, and just, you know, the way that I and a lot of other queer people have to use their body to get the attention that they never got growing up. And sometimes that happens at a very young age. And so, yeah, it's a large conversation, but it's still, you know, I mean, things haven't really changed too much for me. I mean, I'm still, it's still a journey, and still a struggle that I deal with hourly every day. So
yeah, I mean, a minute at a time. I mean, it's something that I know, you know, Sam Lansky, also a friend of mine.
I love Sam. Yeah,
I've talked to him a lot about my issues with it, and and it's almost
me too. Yeah.
With our community being gay, I feel like it's almost like still like you don't want to talk about like whether it's an eating disorder or body dysmorphia, because it's like it's like one less thing or something. You know, it's like it's not even a comfortable conversation for, you know, for our community to have.
And in so many people, I mean,
yeah,
it is, you know, watching what some of my friends put themselves through to try to get, you know, sexual attention, and to try to get just, it's really painful to see, because I have taken part in that before. And it you know, see the attention that I get as opposed to like other people. It's really sad, you know, it's really sad. And I think that I wish that people were seen just for what they bring to the table, as opposed to how many abs they have. But I mean,
yep. But I think, look, these, like you talking about it in the book, us talking about it now, it's like it's all leading toward a positive movement. So let's hope that that's what's happening.
yeah.
I also want to talk to you about sobriety. Congrats! I think it's almost been 4 years.
Yes, I know, crazy. I mean,
it's
good. Wild. Yeah.
And I've had many conversations with people, you know, famous like yourself, not famous. And I think there's something so much to be said about addiction within our community. There is clearly such a history and a pattern of it, and it can, you know, addiction can really affect our community deeply. And I know for you had struggled a lot with alcohol, and like we said, Adderall, but how different is your life now? You know, it's like you said, almost 4 years in, you've got some time. How different is your life now that you've got that clarity and have been able to pick yourself up from, you know, that dark time?
It is completely different. I definitely, you know, someone mentioned something that's so deeply, it still hurts when I say it, but you know, someone mentioned that I was like a beautiful house with no furniture. And it was a joke. And, you know, eventually, but it started, the more and more I thought about it, I was like, oh, fuck, they just think that I have nothing on the inside. And I have nothing that would, you know, make someone want to, you know, find me a place to call home. And so, you know, with that, I started realizing that even since I've been sober, I've turned into the person I've always been meant to be. And, you know, the book is Miss Memory Lane. It's about my memories, and it's about, you know, it's a love letter to my mom. And I now, you know, maybe I, you know, had a glass house at one point. Maybe I was that glass house, but now, you know, that I don't have any of those things anymore, I'm exactly who I wanted to be in sobriety, which is, you know, a small 2-bedroom in the scorching hot valley, you know, filled with furniture per se that I got on Craigslist for free. But also I've stepped into being exactly who I've always wanted to be, which is a homebody, which is, I take thrifting very seriously. I constantly on Craigslist, constantly on eBay. I feel like I'm a lot more whole, and also I'm not seeking a validation from other people, and I'm just a lot more to myself. And I have a son now, a 4-year-old, and he's a cat, but don't tell him that he's a cat. He gets very mad. He's taking it. I just put him down for a nap.
For a second, I was like, did I miss an entire big news story? I was like, okay.
Okay, what I was planning to do, I was just gonna keep it and not say cat, but then people get really confused. Yeah, so my life is just a lot more, I don't know, I guess simple's the word. And I just I'm not interested in I'm saying that as I'm here promoting a book about my life, but I think that if people give the book a chance, they'll see that, I really am not, this isn't a polished veneer. This isn't a smear piece, polished veneer memoir. It's really one that is pretty gut wrenching and really I speak from my soul about, and I worked my ass off, and I'm so proud of it because I have it here, but it really is the perfect, it's just a perfect depiction of who I am. I'm very sensitive and very emotional with my memories, and I can remember every detail, every single date and everything, and journals from the time I was 14. And so yeah, sobriety has definitely taught me that being myself is not something to be ashamed of. And also it's really sobriety has taught me to really just really hold space for myself, and to really not be hard on myself and not live for other people, because if I wasn't sober, I wouldn't I don't know if I'd be around right now. So
well, I'm so glad to hear that. And that all of those messages that you said, those words, are so key, I think, to hear during Pride Month. You can apply them to your life in so many different ways. I also just want to say, I also have a 2-bedroom house in the Valley, but I have a 13-year-old son, not a 4-year-old. So
a dog or cat?
A dog.
Well, yeah, yeah. Most people say, if you said cat, I would be like, what? No one ever says that. But I fucking love the Valley. It's quiet here. I'm really, we're lucky to be, have our children in our 2 bedrooms. So
exactly. You've been open and you've talked about your suicide attempt, and I don't want to get into the nitty-gritty of it. I feel like you've talked about it enough, but I think on the flip side of that, I think as we sit in Pride Month and in a moment of time when mental health is finally becoming a priority of conversation for so many people, what would you say to anyone out there that, might be struggling, might be having a hard time, might be, just having some deep thoughts? You're on the other side of it, thankfully. Like what advice do you have for anyone, whether they're of the community or not?
My advice would be to just really know that when it comes to things like that, I think I always say the quote wrong. This isn't the direct quote. I don't know who said it, but it is basically saying, like, stop focusing on the weeds and start, really focusing on the flowers. I botched that, but what that is,
I get the sentiment for sure.
Yeah, but basically what I've done so often is I used to not say things because I would focus on what people online in the community or not in the community were going to say about me, or, you want attention, all this other stuff. But I think that people need to focus on it is so cathartic and so healing for yourself when you open up about your struggles with things. And so when I stopped focusing on like these people that I don't know, that don't matter to me at all, and I could give but can I say fuck? If not, leave it out. That I don't give a fuck about people who are bullies online. And so when I was going to these conventions at the latter towards, I think it was like last year, and I was really down on myself because being stuck in the house during the pandemic for so long, and when people started coming up to me, young queer kids were coming up to me and saying how my story mattered to them and helped them out of their dark times and out of their struggles. And once I realized that there are so many people, and I don't sit around, I'm not walking around my house and like, I'm making a change. It's mostly negative talk and negative self-talk. And so once I was like, you know what, there's a whole group of people that I'm just not aware of because I live in this bubble in LA. and that maybe my message could really be helping, and could, you know, maybe they saw my HR, maybe they saw certain things that I had spoken about, or things that I had said in online, and maybe that's helped them. And that's been happening a lot to me recently. What I would say is, there are going to be people who are going to identify with your story, and it doesn't mean that even they don't have to be gay or be anything like you, but it can be a universal message of just hope and strength, and that is so healing for them and also for you. And so focusing on the positives that come out of it, and knowing that there are communities of people out there who can help you, that has been the most just unbelievably rewarding thing for me. Is like, I have a group of people anywhere. I mean, there's groups everywhere that have helped me step into my life and step into my and find my strengths and help me stay sober, and also just help me stay on a great mental journey. And so there's so many people out there that can help. But that's such a long answer, but basically, you know, I tend to be the type of person that craves love and attention, and then runs away from it. And so I think once I realized that there are people out there who care genuinely, then I started allowing people to love on me and show me support. So,
you know, you mentioned love. You did have a very public relationship and then a breakup. Have you opened yourself up to maybe the next chapter of finding love, whatever that means? Or are you still, you know?
I would never want to do that to someone. I think you know, that is, I joke a lot. I'm like, I don't want to smell your morning breath. Like, I don't want, what did Whoopi say? She said, I don't want anyone in my house. I mean, I genuinely, not even just in the near future, but I just cannot imagine a life where it's never the other person normally. It's me allowing myself to dim my light, and not having safe boundaries for myself, because I never learned how to have them. And so, you know, let's say I never dated someone, I don't know, in finance, but like, let's say you work in finance. All of a sudden I'm carrying around a fucking briefcase. I'm like, I change myself to be whatever you want me to be. And that's what I did in my career. That's what I've done in the public. That's what I always do in my life. And so I haven't established those boundaries fully yet. They're coming thanks to therapy. But I value and love my friends and my family so much, and I don't have a proper boundary of still valuing and loving them when I get into a relationship. And therefore, it's not even on the table. I'm not looking for it. If it comes, I will set it free. It's just not something I'm interested in. Yeah, because I think I finally am starting to, like, you know, fall in love with, no, I wouldn't say fall in love. I'm starting to like myself. And so I don't, I definitely don't, there's no space for that in my life. But yeah, I mean, it definitely gets lonely, but I mean, I'd much rather be lonely than miserable. So,
I mean, very good words of wisdom. I like that too. I mean, I agree. Yeah. I mean, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned, it's Pride Month, and I think, you know, are you proud of yourself at this point? I mean, I feel like you should be. You are, you know, 4 years sober, got this memoir out that is sure to be, you know, a beacon of hope for many people and help so many. I mean, are you feeling proud of yourself?
Yeah, I am. I think it was on Tamara. I did Tamara Hall the other day, and she asked that question, and I said I am, and then I walked it back a little bit. And you know, I'm starting to see, yeah, I'm definitely on that road still. And you know, I think I'm doing what I'm doing is I'm just really doing whatever I can to I don't know, I guess spread a message of hope, and in hopes that I can hold a mirror up to what I'm doing and hope that it somehow reflects back on me. I tend to focus on a lot of other people and a lot of other things instead of, you know, my own stuff. But I think that's just kind of my bullshit, and me not being able to accept that the support and love, but I'm growing into being proud of myself, and I'm definitely a lot more proud being who I am right now than who I was. And, you know, I'm able to now really just be who I am. And I do it for myself, and I don't give space to others who don't accept that. So
it's a good feeling though, right? To be able to just be comfortable, happy with who you are. Well, we're very proud of you, and I'm very happy for you. It's been really great to catch up, sending you the best. And reminder, everyone, if you want to check out Colton's memoir, Miss Memory Lane, it is available right now online, wherever, there we go, wherever you can find your book. But Colton, thanks again.
Thank you for chatting with me. I really appreciate it.